Good morning and welcome back to the KR Daily Transmission. My name is Kaia if you're new to our channel, and I am the author of the Sophia Code. Every week, Monday through Friday, we gather together as a community to explore the Sophia Code teachings, mentoring with the Ascended Masters, and embodying your higher self. I want to thank you for your patience coming live today. We are in a lot of transition here on our platform. And so my prayer is that next level of support is really going to be coming in for our team in the weeks to come as I return from my cleanse to be able to serve you even better every morning. So I'm really, really happy to be here with you today, and feel free to introduce yourself in the chat or in the video replay comment feed. I absolutely love reading your comments. I love seeing what's real for you in the chat. And we've had such a wonderful week together, focusing on the teachings of Mother Mary, which are featured in her chapter 9, Revelations. And we've been reading from the section Walking the Way, which starts on page 169. And today we're going to read the last two paragraphs again from page 170 to really come into completion with this section from this week. Oh, good morning, Mindy. So good to see you. Sharon, Christian, Karen. Queenie's joining us from Switzerland. Karen's joining us from Alaska. I love that. I love seeing where everyone's tuning in live from. It's so cool. We have some of our Sophia Circle leaders here, such as Donna Wesley in the chat. If you would like to say hello to our Sophia Circle leaders and our team angels, they're going to go ahead and introduce themselves as a Sophia Circle leader or a team angel. And you're welcome to learn more about our Sophia Circle leaders on our official directory of certified leaders on my website at kaia.com. I'm sharing a little bit about that because over the next 2 weeks, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be featuring interviews with our certified leaders. And I've been so moved, genuinely moved, interviewing our certified Sophia Circle leaders, learning more about their ministries, learning more about how the Sophia Code is moving in their lives, how much transformation is happening with their clients in their community, as they join us in activating humanity's sovereign divinity by leading Sophia Circle journeys, which comprise of 13 gatherings where you would walk through all 13 chapters of the Sophia Code with your Sophia Circle leader in this very dynamic and creative community spiritual journey. So feel free to introduce yourselves, leaders. Our interviews start tomorrow, and we'll continue for the next 2 weeks as I'm cleansing, and I'm going to share a little bit about that after we do our reading. So today's reading is coming, we're going to be turning to page 170 in the Sophia Code, and we're reading from the last 2 paragraphs of the section, Walking the Way. So that paragraph starts with the word humanity, and if you'd like to read this out loud, feel free to do so. Humanity deified, my key code embodiment of Sophia, because my daily commitment to walk the way in every moment of my life created an unforgettable legacy of love. In my sovereign free will, I chose to live in my highest potential every day, which created a legacy for the miraculous power, which created a legacy for the miraculous empowerment of many future generations to come. And so here we are now, connecting over 2,000 years after my ascension. Simply put, I chose to show up and be fully present to the purpose of my human life. Even greater acts are possible than this for your own legacy of love, if you believe and follow the way of your own heart in this extraordinary opportunity of this lifetime. This month, we're focusing on strength and courage. And I would love to share more about that topic based on today's reading. It takes an enormous amount of strength to show up to the daily commitment of listening to and following your heart. It takes an enormous amount of courage to stay true to your own path, especially when your friends or family or coworkers or your neighbors, or I don't know, perhaps even people in your community may be wanting for you to stay in the past, an old version of yourself. It takes an enormous amount of strength and courage to decide that you're going to create a legacy in your lifetime, a legacy of love. What is a legacy of love? A legacy of love is when it's time for you to transition to another place in the universe or back directly into the heart of God. And when you leave this world, there are many, many people who have been deeply impacted by your strength and your courage and your commitment to follow your heart and stay true to your heart, both in the good times and in the challenging times. That's a legacy of love. When you're floating, you've floated into the stratosphere of the spiritual realm. You're looking down on those you've left behind. I don't even know if I like the word left behind, but those that you're traveling beyond. And you can see how your light and your love became a part of their reality. It may have even changed the course of their life because you chose to show up in your daily commitment to walk the way, just as Mother Mary did. And this allows for others to have a resource, an example in their body, hearts, and minds of what it means for them to show up and live in their legacy of love. When we are living a legacy of love, it's contagious. When we choose to live in our daily practice, people notice. Very often, if we're codependent, or if we're working out codependency, we're hoping that people notice and tell us, oh, what a great job you're doing. But if you're walking in your sovereignty, it doesn't matter if people notice or not. And what I have found personally in my journey of spiritual leadership, and for the path of chop wood, carry water to fulfill my divine purpose every day, is very often people aren't saying anything at all while they're watching you change their lives. Very often they're quietly taking you in. They're evaluating what it would feel like for themselves to show up every day. Are we talking about perfectionism? Absolutely not. None of the Ascended Masters condone perfectionism because that's a form of codependency. What we are talking about here and walking the way of following your heart, listening to your heart and following your heart, we are discussing the path of genuine, authentic spiritual awakening, the commitment to be strong enough and courageous enough to keep growing every day. Your highest potential is going to be different every day. There's some days where you might say something that you wish you could have said softer or gentler, but maybe 2 years ago, you would have gone off the rails and lost your marbles and said a lot of things that you regretted. You see what I'm saying? It's like love isn't about perfectionism. Love is about willingness. The willingness to keep coming back to your heart. The willingness to keep opening your heart. The willingness to keep expanding your heart. Especially when your heart feels pain. Especially when people don't understand or even value your commitment to walk the way. Those are the defining moments of strength and courage that are also the building blocks of your legacy of love. It's not when everything is going right. It's when there's those challenges and you keep showing up, regardless of all outer circumstances. And you keep tuning into that divine sovereign resonance of your higher self, whose throne is your heart. Your I am presence is enthroned at the center of your heart chakra and radiates out like the sun from the very center of your being. And when we tune into that divine consciousness just a little bit more every day, we are filling ourselves up like a chalice with the liquid gold, the liquid light, the manna from heaven above that is actually our soul. We're drinking from the very power of our soul, the very divine love of our soul, the communication of our soul, the direction of our soul. The more we unplug from needing the confirmation and affirmation of others' opinions of ourselves, the more we plug into God's opinion of us. To our higher self's opinion of us. And what happens then? This allows for genuine reflections of support, authentic reflections of gratitude to be offered to you. And when you receive them from that sovereign space, what's so beautiful is like it's a gift of acknowledgement, but you realize that you've come to a place now in your journey that you're going to show up whether anyone notices or not. And so you can receive those compliments and those loving affirmations from a clear space of receptivity where the gift is received and enjoyed, but it doesn't have any power over you because your power comes from the source. And if anything, it's a reflection of everyone else's growth simultaneously, not just yours. So this legacy of love, when we step into sovereign spiritual leadership, I love how Mother Mary shares this on page 170. She says, simply put, I chose to show up and be fully present to the purpose of my human life. Simply put, I chose to show up and be present to my human life. I think that's one of the strongest things we can do is to become present in our daily human life. There are so many moments where it's easier to check out or complain or resort to victimhood or boredom or retreat or drama or trauma and to show up and be fully present, no matter how vulnerable it is, to the growth edge of our daily lives. It's like, that's where the steel of your sword is sharpened. That's where the fire of your courage learns how to grow brighter, burn brighter. So today, I just want to thank you for taking this time to all week long to really reflect upon walking the way together and to feel what it feels like to be in community walking the way together, to be on the live chat or to read these comments and realize, oh, I'm not alone in this daily commitment. There are others choosing to embody their higher self, to tap into their divinity, and to allow that divine consciousness to operate their human experience, to take over. So I want to thank you all for being here live today. And if I'm going to read through the chat. I'm going to answer a couple questions because I won't be here tomorrow for the Q&A. So feel free to share your question in the chat. Jen is sharing, I've been noticing that my sister is automatically having breakthroughs in her own healing journey with me saying very little, just resonating with my own love. Congratulations, Jen. That is huge. That is divine feminine leadership. Rachel is asking, are you going to channel a book from Joan of Arc? The answer is yes. I have to get through Mother Mary's book first. And also the book I'm writing about my story. So there's a lot of books that want to come through me, and it's a lot, but thank you for asking. What kind of cleanse are you doing? Okay, so I'm about to go on a really big journey at this cleansing center that has really changed my life. I had a lot of damage in my large intestine and some of my organs from the experimentation and electrocution and torture that I suffered for years in my childhood and in early adolescence. And it wasn't until I had really had the resources to, from showing up to my divine purpose and my dharma. When I had the resources, I started a very serious journey of creating cleansing as a big part of my life, because I had all of these side effects of what I experienced were turning into cancer. And I knew that if I were to go to a hospital or try it with a Western approach, I didn't have the strength or the ability to survive that. And I don't even believe in chemo. I don't even believe that it works, honestly. So it was a really big journey for me to find the right people to cleanse with. And please don't ask me to reveal where I go to cleanse, because when I'm ready to reveal that, I will. I'm not ready to reveal that yet. I'm still completing the final stages of what I'm getting out of my body. And it's been really, really intense for me. So what I do is I do a very serious amount of these herbal blends of bentonite clay and psyllium, and like these very large copious amounts of like antiparasitical herbal blends. And I do hydrotherapy every day. And we also do massage and body work, and drink copious amounts of water. And it's pretty much like soup and smoothies and just very, very soft foods. And so a lot of green juice. And I love it. I actually really, really love this journey that I go on. It brings up so much emotion. So I do a lot of shamanic clearing with some practitioners that I've established relationships with over the years of this journey to heal myself, which I'm 1,000,000% clear of cancer now, but it was something that I couldn't talk about while I was going through it, because I didn't want to scare anyone. I didn't want anyone to, I guess, overly worry about me, because I knew that I was going to beat it, and I knew I was going to beat it through my own intuitive divine guidance, like following my own heart, following a rigorous path of, I mean like rigorous. I think I did this cleanse for a couple of years. I did it like 5 times a year. I was cleansing 160 days a year out of the year, living off green juice and a lot of a liquid diet, because I just wanted to do this the way holistically. I wanted to do it so that my body, to support my body to expel what it was ready to expel. And it was so interesting because, with every deep, deep layer of what I was getting out of my body, which honestly, at some point, some of it just looked alien, like straight up. The people at the cleansing center had said they had never seen anything like it. It was like I had to go on this massive journey of remembering so many things that happened to me that I had I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was horrific, but the horror kept getting worse and worse. The atrocities that I was witnessing kept getting bigger and bigger with every layer that I was getting out of my body. And this is why, I really ask people to be, number one, very compassionate with yourself when you're like, why am I not fully healed yet? It's like healing is a journey. There's so many layers that we are often not aware of, that are hiding out in our unconscious, that are hiding out in the subconscious, and also hiding out in our body. And what I discovered, 20 years ago, when I started to make a commitment to cleansing, I didn't just jump into this full-blown, like, super hardcore cleansing thing that I was doing the past 6 years. I started it was exploring different cleanses, learning how to build it into my life. And so I tried different forms and variations. And so when I found this one center, it was like, okay, yeah, this is it for me. And so I invite you to be very curious and generous and compassionate with yourself if you are cleansing and healing from a serious illness that's connected to emotional and psychological trauma. It's like if you make the prayer that you are going to heal your body, you are going to get your body back. Like my prayer was, I want all of me back. I want my every organ, every cell. Like I want all of my emotions back. I want every part of my consciousness and my mind back. And it was just like, I want to move fully from matrix slavery into full-blown divine sovereignty in my human body. I don't care what it's going to cost me. I don't care what it's going to take. I don't care what level of strength, courage, and commitment is going to be required. I am going for it. And honestly, like if you really want to step into your fullest potential in this lifetime, that's the attitude you need to consider. It's like, show me the way, God, source, Sophia, higher self, ascended masters, and make me a willing human being to be a part of answering this prayer. Because I had to keep saying yes. I had to keep showing up to those next steps that kept revealing themselves to me. I could have said, I've done one cleanse and why didn't it work? And I'm just going to give up. And it was just like, oh no, what I did, I said, oh my God, I did this cleanse. And now I realize I have so many more cleanses to do. Great. Show me the way, God. Send me the resources. Keep guiding me. I'm not giving up. I want all of me back. And part of why I chose to embody that much strength and courage for so many years was because becoming an embodiment in my leadership for this, I'm not a perfect person. I'm a willing person. And embodying that level of willingness was extremely important to me, because being able to be in this role of service for you brings great meaning and honor to what I survived. Like if I can do something beautiful and powerful that lifts others up after the like unspeakable sacrifices that I went through to be here in this lifetime, to receive the Sophia Code, it was like a sacred text of complete sovereignty to come through someone who experienced the atrocities of slavery. That's the full spectrum. And it, like, there's no, even if I was to be served the greatest like gavel of justice on the planet, nothing could ever actually make up for what I experienced. Nothing. But what is a relief for me is being able to live in my highest potential, just as Mother Mary is sharing here in this passage of the Sophia Code, and be able to create as much of a legacy of love that I can in this lifetime, to get to be any part of your legacy of love, for us to be co-creating a legacy of love together at the Sophia Code movement. It's like that. Would I ever choose this path again that I survived? Never. Never. I'm done with the martyr situation forever. But I was asked to come here and I was asked to survive that. And I said yes. And in that yes, many lives have been impacted. And this journey of healing my body over the past 6 years, thank you, God, for all of the resources that I've received to do that. It wasn't just for me, it was for you too. Really. It was like my love letter to humanity, because I really deeply care about humanity. I don't like when I go into high states of channeling, I don't like seeing billions of souls enslaved, billions of souls that are actually sovereign and divine, that are meant to be living in their creative genius, that are meant to be living in prosperity and harmony with their families, with their children, with their elders, with their community. I love humanity. I really do. I wouldn't have come back to this planet otherwise. And we have to be an embodiment of this much divine, feminine, fierce grace. We have to be an embodiment of this much divine, masculine strength and courage. Like, this is what speaks to humanity louder than words. When we fully decide to reclaim our health, to reclaim the sovereignty of our relationships, the sovereignty of our hearts, like, when we put our highest potential first, honestly, above all others, what's so interesting about that is it attunes us to step into this humble, powerful service to others and with others, because we've been tending to our own body, hearts, and minds so that we can live in an embodiment of sovereignty. That's authentic, not perfection. A lot of people think this is spirituality is, equivalent with perfection. Your divinity is already perfect. There's literally nothing lacking in it. Let's talk about that in the Sophia Code, how one of the deepest wounds of humanity is its belief that divinity is somehow flawed and let them down. That we had this woman in Austin, she got on stage, and I think it was Olga. She said, I forgive God. I was just so blown away that she was able to access that place inside of her where she said, I forgive God. Really what she's saying, I forgive myself. And it's like, this is why we have the invincible power to come into matrices like this and experience abuse, experience atrocities, experience slavery, and awaken to the sovereignty within us. It's because our divinity is invincible. Our divinity is the purest light. It's already perfect. And the hot mess of our human journey, the strength and the courage, the persistence and the willpower, the dedication and the perseverance that we get to experience in our human bodies, it brings a great temperance to our understanding of how powerful our divinity truly is. We are far more afraid of how powerful we are than anything else. And power is an attribute of God consciousness that wants to pour through us. When we are in right relationship with our bodies, when we are in right relationship with our emotional healing and our psychological harmony and unification of our mental bodies, it's like we come into alignment of walking in a good way with that personal power, that sovereign creative power, that God consciousness that wants to pour through us. And even as we are, learning what it's like to wield that much power, and we're gonna have growth curves, we're gonna make mistakes. It's that alignment to live in our highest potential and our greatest health that is going to continue to course correct the learning experience, where everything can become spiritual gold. Drema is writing in, it's her 41st birthday today, or I don't know if it's a man or a woman or non-gender. Hi, Drema, whoever you are, congratulations and happy 41st birthday today. I can barely see the little icon on my screen today. And is there, I think that's a good place for us to close today. So thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for supporting the Sophia Code movement. And thank you so much for just coming together in community today and every day for the Care Daily Transmission. it's so meaningful that we get to explore this together, these teachings, to practice embodying our sovereign divinity together, to tune into our higher self, to feel all our feelings and keep showing up. And amidst all of the growth curves. And thanks for tuning in and continuing to tune in and support our Sophia Circle leaders over the next 2 weeks. These are just exceptional human beings and doing exceptional light work for the Sophia Code movement. And I really look forward to reading your comments and seeing how you're enjoying these interviews. I had so much fun interviewing. Like, I think I'm going to make it a thing. And keep doing it because I just enjoyed having these conversations so much. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking this video. If you have any questions about joining us in Paris live, we have our virtual conference. It's a virtual event pass. So you can join us through the live stream or join us in person. We have a membership forum where you can connect with other people traveling to Paris. I'm so moved by how many people are traveling to Paris that don't live in Europe. I want to say just a quick shout out to those members of our community who are like, yes, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to be a part of this Joan of Arc ceremony in Paris. So exciting. I will have a few YouTube lives when I return from my cleanse before I leave for France. So that'll be cool. And then I'll be doing some lives in France, which I'm really excited about, that content that's coming. And yeah, and then please consider coming to join us in Sedona for the Psychic Sovereign Spiritual Leadership Immersive. This is the next level training of what we began in Austin, and it's going to be fire, pure fire. I already started to see what was going to happen at the end of Austin in Sedona, because more and more psychic training started to happen on stage. And I am so thrilled that I get to do this again in one of my most favorite places in the world, Sedona. So if you have any questions about joining us in Sedona, feel free to reach out to our team angels. They're here in the chat, and we can get happy to coordinate a team angel call for you to connect with Ashley or Taryn. And you can reach out to us at kaia.com. I love you all so much. Thank you for your prayers and your well wishes for my cleanse. And I'm going to miss connecting with you here every morning, but this is really good for me to unplug and to really go deep in this healing. I'm going for it. I'm going into the underworld of my deepest healing over the next 2 weeks. So I really appreciate your prayers and your well wishes. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side of it. Looking forward to that, and enjoy our amazing Sophia Circle leaders. It's going to be a journey of exceptional conversations. Love you all so much. See you in a couple weeks. Namaste.